Okay, this next section is very important, and it's about trachea and throat implants. So as far as military personnel go, you'll notice that a great deal of them, if not all of them, have large hunchbacks. And this is due to the implants that first begin to form around their spines and tracheas, and over time, the implants expand and they develop into hunchbacks. So I've seen young soldiers in their 20s and 30s walking around with hunchbacks like they are old men. So the Grays want everyone, especially in the military, to be implanted like this, because these people become very easy to control. And also because the Grays know that people who have large hunchbacks due to trachea implants cannot breathe well. And by staying healthy and breathing correctly, people all over the world will learn to rid themselves of these implants using their body's natural energy system called the chakra system. And the driving force behind the chakra system is a form of deep breathing called the U-breath. So the Grays want to attack the human race directly at that location. And these implants begin to press on their tracheas. So it becomes hard to take deep breaths through your nose. So instead, people begin to breathe through their mouths. So to quickly summarize the human airway, it starts behind your nose and mouth, where it's called the pharynx. Then down little ways in your neck, your airway is called the larynx. And then it becomes your trachea that connects to your lungs. So let's talk about your larynx and larynx implants for a little bit. The larynx is commonly called the voice box because it contains your vocal cords. So the larynx is used to breathe, to talk, and to swallow. And quite often people develop an implant right at their larynx. And you'll know that you have one there if you ever feel your voice getting strained. If your voice becomes raspy or even like a low whisper, it is due to an implant that has developed in your larynx. And I believe that this implant is also used to choke people with by triggering the swallowing mechanism. So they perceive it as a sensation of being choked. And this could cause a lot of panic during a radio frequency attack when they are already in an alarm state. So as I explained before, if a choking sensation begins in your throat, just swallow to shrug the impulse off. And at worst, there'll be a series of choking impulses that can happen quickly in a row. And understand that it cannot really hurt you, it just tightens up your throat. So swallow and it'll go back to normal. So to clear the implants in this area of your neck and upper back, it's best to use the leaning right or leaning left positions, where you lay on one of your sides, but your chest is flat against the surface. And what this does is put a lot of pressure on implants that develop in your upper back, your neck, your throat, and your head. And then it's very easy to locate the implants. You pin them down, you press down on them, and then you use your U-breath to breathe deeply into them and then pull them out of place. So you get into the leaning left and the leaning right positions, and then you could shift your weight directly on the implant, and they develop all through the area of your upper back, your neck, and your throat. So this is why many military agents get hunchbacks, due to implants that build up all throughout that area and end up deforming the body, causing swelling in their backs and shoulders, and causing a curvature in the spine. So all these implants press against their tracheas, and they press against their lungs, and all this makes it difficult to take a deep breath through your nose. So in a panic state, people are triggered to start gasping through their mouths, and this is a recipe for disaster during a radio frequency attack, where you are flooded with streams of plasma that need to be moved through your body by breathing correctly. So people develop these implants all through their airway, respiratory system, from their sinus down through their lungs. So a trachea implant will develop on the trachea, right above your lungs, and will feel like a knot in the center of your upper back, right at the base of your neck. And as you know by now, this is done by connecting agents to you who have severe implants in this location. So if they connect one of these agents to you and reverse the energy onto the agent, the implant is going to feel like a hard chunk of metal pressing against your trachea. and it will feel like you cannot take a full breath through your nose because the air is not reaching your lungs. So when you try to breathe through your nose, it will feel like you're hitting a block or a place where your airway begins to disappear as it is being closed off or pressed forward. So taking a breath through your nose will seem difficult at times. Yet, remember that agents who link themselves to you will also cause a neural sensation of what they feel. And these agents most often have large hunchbacks. So imagine an old man with a terrible hunchback and think of what his spine and airway must look like with all these implants that have built up causing these physical deformities. So he's all bent forward and the implants are all pressing against his upper airway and trachea. And he has implants all throughout his shoulders and back that are also pushing on the upper part of his lungs. So when a man like this connects himself to you, you are going to sense all his implants and the condition that he is in. So even though your airway is fine, the plasma connection between you both will make it seem like you have a serious airway problem because you are sensing the implants in the agent. So this is the type of implant that really gave me some trouble at first. So I had quite a few good-sized implants that were in my trachea and my lung area. And then they also linked to me quite a few agents who had severe hunchbacks and trachea implants. So when I went to breathe through my nose, as the air went into my lungs, it felt like my windpipe was being closed off, or that the air was being pushed forward and disappearing somewhere, instead of being allowed to fully enter my lungs. So I spent the next couple of weeks focusing on breathing deep and pulling these implants out of my neck and back. And what the military did was they kept on connecting these old hunchbacks to me with the same problem. And I kept on panicking and spending most of the day pulling the implants and plasma out of my neck and back. So I finally got wise to what they were doing. And I realized that after spending some time clearing the implants that had formed in me, I got rid of the hot sensation up there. And then my airway was fine. And it was only this neural sensation that was giving me problems. So after getting most of the larger implants out of myself, I did not have to stop what I was doing and worry about removing whatever they had linked to me, which was one agent after the next with severe trachea and airway implants. I think they were getting old people out of a nursing home and linking them to me. And the truth is that if you take the time to remove the implants in yourself every morning, you can in fact breathe perfectly through your nose and the air will reach your lungs just fine. But when they connect one of these agents to you, there will be a strange neural sensation of an obstructed airway at times. And even though you may sense pressure that seems to be pushing on your airway, the truth is that the same amount of air is entering your lungs. And at worst, it's going to be like breathing through a stuffed up nose. So you can check this out by breathing in all the way through your nose until you cannot inhale anymore. Then try to breathe in more through your mouth, and you will find that you cannot breathe in through your mouth anymore because your lungs are already filled with air. So I found out that I was getting the same amount of air into my lungs, whether I was breathing through my nose or my mouth. And the worst was just the sensation of being connected to someone who had a severe hunchback and trachea implants. And if you ever are experiencing some trouble breathing due to something like this, breathing up and down your spine is the easiest way to inhale through your nose because it takes your mind off the implants that are linked to your airway, imagining the air cruising up and down your spine. So even though your airway may seem a little blocked and your breath heavy, your lungs aren't being cut off. It is just a little pressure on your trachea combined with an agent who has a severe hunchback. So around this time I started taking short jogs in the morning when it was still dark out. So I'll take a flashlight and I'll do this right before I started my meditation block. And I found that this is the best thing to do if you are having trouble with implants in your airway. And what running does is help clear your airway of excess plasma that is built up throughout the night. And with that out of the way, it allows you to sense the implants that are connected to you a lot better. It allows you to realize that you can breathe fine through your nose. So when I'd first get up, I'll go for a short jog to the top of this hill. Then I'll do some deep U-breath exercises for about 5 minutes. And then I'll turn and jog back down the hill. And since it was easier running down the hill, I could keep my mouth closed and focus on breathing only through my nose while lifting with the U-breath form. And this not only helps clear yourself of all the plasma, but will train you in how to deal with the trachea plant. Because if you are ever attacked when you have one of these, it can panic you. But if you go for short runs when you first wake up, you quickly clear all the extra plasma in your sinus, neck, and back, and then you can breathe so much better. And you will know very well that if you are able to go for a run and breathe through your nose just fine, then you definitely will not have any breathing problems throughout the day, including when they connect these hunchback agents to you. You may get a lot of plasma in that area, but your airway is not physically obstructed. And then when you get more used to it and you get more of the implants out, I would meditate when I'll get up, but I'll wait to go for jogs later on. But when you're first starting out, it helped a lot to go for jogs first thing. And it begins to train you how to deal with these things. It allows you to realize what is in you and what are these neural connections where you just are sensing these implants and agents. And even though they might make breathing difficult, the worst is going to be in your mind. So after you get these larger implants out of you, you may wait to a little bit later on in the day to go for your runs. But this is how I got through it, and I'm just going to pass that information on to you.